What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. Man, when I tell you, this interview that Tasha K did with Brother Bilal, that's what he calls himself. That's what he wants to be called. So that's what I'm going to call him. Will Smith's former assistant was extremely explosive, but in my personal opinion, it was very informative and it confirmed a lot of things that I thought and even confirmed a number of things that I actually share with you guys on my platform. Now, for those of you that are new here, you may not have heard some of my previous conversations discussing Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, but he confirmed a number of things. First, I want to start by saying that I believe him. I believe what he has said. And I'm not just saying I believe him because it's like I want to believe this, because there are some times when things come out about people that it's seen as salacious and it's seen as juicy gossip and all that other stuff. And most people want to believe things that are negative about people over things that are not. And a lot of people would prefer to believe lies about people, especially when they really don't care for them, over the truth. But that's not this. For me, I believe him. And I'll tell you why. In this interview that he did with Tasha K, he was extremely just matter of fact, to the point. He pointed out a number of things where it just was really like it was laying things out so that you could really picture them and see them, because he explained things in a way that these are things that he saw. So he says that he has receipts. He says, everything that I am talking about, I have receipts for, I have knowledge of. And the other reason why I believe him is because in an interview, when Tasha K would ask him about certain things, certain subjects, or even certain people, he did not go into those things if he didn't know about it. He would just say, I'm not really sure. I didn't really know that person that well, and I don't like to do speculation, so I can't say. Listen, a lot of people, even if they know one thing or a few things about someone and someone asks them other questions, they will go on and divulge things that they really don't know whether it's a yes or no, or if it's true or false. And with him, he didn't do that with anything that he was asked about, that he just was simply like, I don't really know. So I'm not going to say because I really don't know. And I'm not even going to guess and say, well, yeah, I think this person is that, or yeah, I think this actually went down or whatever. So for me, in my personal opinion, I don't believe any lies were told. No lies were detected by me. And that's the main reason why I'm saying I believe him. And so to go into some of the things, because I'm not going to play any of the clips. I am one of Tasha K's subscribers. I've been from day one. I may not have listened to all of the content that she has over there, but I definitely am a subscriber and a supporter, and I would never disrespect her platform and share any clips of anything that she has not put out on a public platform. So I'm not going to play any clips, but I don't think there is any thing that I can't share about some things that he said that I want to talk about. So I'm not playing anything, and I'm just basically going to share some things that he said that for me was confirmation, and some things that I had even already said. Now, he definitely did give details about the clip. I won't even say about the clip that we have all had the opportunity to hear and see, that Tasha K had shared online prior to the interview coming out, where he said that he walked in on Dwayne Martin smashing Will Smith from behind, bent over on a couch. Like, I was talking to someone yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I was like, you know how sometimes when someone describes something and you just get this visual in your mind, sometimes it's like, can you spare us? Because I really did not need that visual, because you can't even help it. It's not like you're sitting there trying to conjure up, I wonder what this looks like. It's not that you're picturing, okay, what color was the couch? Was it a love seat or a sofa? Was it a sectional? You're not doing that. You just can't help but picture Will Smith bent over with Dwayne Martin just doing his thing from behind him. Like, that's just disgusting. And I'm not here to say anything negative about anyone that is gay, but I'm just saying, I don't want to picture anyone having sex. That's heterosexual, homosexual. That's for me. That's my thing. I had that visual because of what he said, and he was so descriptive about it. He didn't just say, I walked in on him and Will Smith doing it. Because then that leaves it up to your imagination. Okay, like, how were they doing it? What were they doing? But no, he was in detail, so you just can't really help but picture that. But one of the things that he talked about more in detail in the video, because some people were wondering, okay, well, you walked in. Well, what were you doing? Listen, he said, I was just so in shock because I've never seen anything like that before. And two, to see these two people. But listen, to answer the question as to what he was even doing in a place where those two would be together, I never watched the show. It used to come on a network called the WB, where Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, they produced a show called All of Us, where it starred Dwayne Martin and Elise. I can't remember her last name, but she's an actress. She's been in a lot of things, and she actually starred on the Hollywood Divas show that Carlos King used to produce, which I've actually watched. I enjoyed. She was on that show, and she actually quit the show. I remember hearing stories about her quitting the show. And Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, they were the creators of it, the producers of it, and it starred Lisa Ray. Now listen, Will Smith had Brother Bilal working there, and he said he was hired by Will to work there to pretty much watch over Dwayne Martin, because he said he and Dwayne Martin was his man. Like, literally, that was his man. And he had him there to pretty much watch over him and kind of low-key spy on him. And there were a few episodes that Will Smith starred on the show. And even though I never watched that show, I do remember that, because there were other shows I used to watch on the WB. I actually used to love the Wayans brothers. Corny, I know, but I really did love the Wayans brothers. And that was one of the shows that used to come on that network back in the day. So when you watch a show on a network, you see commercials of other shows. And I specifically remember those commercials where they were promoting the show. And I remember when they were promoting Will Smith being on the show, and there were clips, of the episode or episodes that he was in, because I think he may have been in like 2 episodes, and he was supposed to be Lisa Ray's boyfriend, because on the show, Dwayne Martin and Lisa Ray had a child together, and they used to be married, so they were like co-parenting. That's what the preface of the show was, and it was supposed to be loosely based on the life of Will Smith, his ex-wife, Cherie, I think her name is. Cherie Zampino, I believe is what her name is, and their first son, Trey. And then, he married Jada Pinkett Smith, and they always used to talk about how they co-parent so well together. But on this show, they were not co-parenting well. They were co-parenting, but they didn't get along. But in real life, or what they would try to portray to us, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, they would try to portray to us how this is just one happy blended family. Trey is like, my son too, speaking like Jada Pinkett Smith would. And, we have great relationships with Cherie and all this other stuff. So the show was loosely based on their real life. But that answers the question as to, well, what was he doing around there? How could he walk in on the two of them together? But he said that he was told by Will that, look, some people are going to be in touch with you. I need you to sign something. He was like, sign what? And he said, look, I'm trying to protect you. It's some people that's going to be reaching out to you, and you got to sign this document. And this is to protect your life. So he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he told him, do you remember the situation with Eddie Murphy and when he got caught with that trans woman and how that trans woman died? Because Eddie Murphy, I believe, he had picked her up. Of course, Eddie Murphy told us he was just picking up a hitchhiker, but he hired that woman, allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, he hired that woman to perform some sexual favors for him. And when they got busted, the higher ups in Hollywood, or whoever these people are, had this woman, trans woman, taken out, but they made it seem like it was a situation where she had an accidental death and she lost her life by trying to do something that was just really crazy. So basically what Will Smith didn't come out and say to him, but was insinuating, is that, look, you walked in on me doing something that I do, like this is what I do, but to protect your life and to prevent you from going out here and spreading this information, you got to sign this document. He said he left. After that, he left and he never came back. I don't think he's lying about that. I really don't. And so with that being said, that answered question as to how could he walk in on Will Smith and Dwayne Martin with Will bent over the I don't know if it was the arm of the sofa or I don't know. He was on the couch cushions. Just anyway, and I'm trying to make light of it because this is some serious stuff. And it's not just the fact that Will Smith is bisexual, because he said in the beginning, and I do believe him, he said Will Smith is bisexual. He said that it started happening around the time that Will Smith was, he was managed, I believe, by Benny Medina. But Benny Medina actually did have a lot to do with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He said there was a situation where Benny was calling Will, and he was like, Will, I'm coming to get you or something like that. And then he walked up and they both kissed each other. He said it wasn't like a romantic kiss or they were tonguing each other out, but like, it was like straight men don't do that. And it was like, what are you doing? And then he said when Will started getting prepared to be in that movie, which I never watched, 6 Degrees of Separation, I heard about it where he played a role of a gay man, and I don't know what all happened in the movie, so I can't say if he actually did a sex scene or if it was just kissing. But he said that to prepare himself, he started watching a lot of gay porn. He was going to different places overseas, watching sex shows and gay sex shows and stuff. And it's like, and I'm saying to myself, the stuff that goes on in this world, my God. Ugh. Anyway, he said that he started turning and shifting around that time. Now, that's a little bit. And listen, if you haven't listened to the interview yet, if you're not on the app, I don't know if you just like, I'm not paying $12 to go and listen to this trash. That's fine. But I'm sure it'll eventually be released on YouTube. I just don't know how soon she's going to do it because she doesn't always immediately release things that are on the app onto YouTube, and there are some things that she does not release on YouTube, so I don't know if she's going to release it. But anyway, those were answered questions from me as to, is he gay, is he bi, whatever. And he said, yeah, in the beginning of the interview, he actually said that he's bisexual. Not in the very beginning, but as he had like a timeline, okay? And so many things were just making sense, right? But he also confirmed some things that I was actually just pondering. I wasn't sure about, but I had just recently talked about when it came to this interview. And I mentioned the fact that Lisa Ray was upset with Dwayne Martin, and she said that he interfered in her marriage. Now, she was married to the president of the Turks and Caicos, and I spoke about this. And I said, well, I don't really know what that means, because him being the president of the Turks and Caicos, I'm quite sure that if he wanted some, other women, he had it easily available for him. So I don't really think that was an issue where it was like Dwayne Martin coming around and getting women for him that didn't even make sense. So it's like the other thought would be Dwayne Martin was either hooking up with her husband or they were participating in, situations with other men too. Those were just my thoughts. He came out and literally confirmed what I thought. Okay? And I was just like, wow. But he also confirmed some other things too in this interview. And it honestly was just pretty sad. But you could tell in this interview, he really has a lot of heat and venom for Jada. He doesn't hate Will, and a lot of people would feel like, well, if he's out here and he's spilling all this information, he obviously hates this man. And how could he call him his friend? He says, we're not friends. We used to be friends, but in the end, I was more of a friend to him than he was to me. So obviously, a lot of this is one out of hurt. But for me, I also feel like this is his story to tell as well. It's not, even though it might sound like it, where it's just him telling other people's information. This actually is his story to share because it is stuff that he has experienced, because he was in some ways involved. And it may not make sense to some people, but as I was listening to this interview, and he says he has a book coming out, and listen, when the book comes out, if it does, I'm getting it, and I'm probably going to be reading it on the YouTube channel because it really sounds that in-depth and that interesting, because he said there are going to be QR codes in the book where you can scan it and it's going to take you to a website where it's going to have the receipts for the things that he is talking about. Listen, this man said he has receipts. I believe him, and I don't think that the things that he has receipts for are made up, in my personal opinion. But when he was talking about Jada in the beginning of the interview, like, he broke a lot of things down, and he said she's a liar. I don't believe myself. I'm not talking about him right now. I don't believe she's a victim, but I also don't believe Will Smith is a victim either. So I'm going to preface that, what I'm saying, by saying that, because Will Smith, even if she was a dark person, addicted to drugs, hypersexual, sex maniac, nympho, whatever, Will Smith chose to get with this woman, and this was his second marriage. So it's not like he was some naive kid that was taken advantage of, but he explained a lot of things about Jada Pinkett Smith. And it also, just as he was going into the details, it confirmed a lot of what I had said in the very beginning when she started doing her press tour and, promoting her book and a lot of the things that she said. I said that they both have secrets about each other. Like, what are they hiding about each other as to why they continue to stay together and stay married, even though they've been separated since, 2016? It's about to be 2024, okay? She said she was more shocked that he called her his wife than she was when he slapped Chris Rock and went up on the stage to do it, So it was just, to me, for him, it was cathartic to release a lot of this, because this is stuff that he had been holding in for years, and he has been treated badly, he says, by her, and he also had been treated badly by Will Smith. And listen, for someone who was supposed to be a friend, you accidentally walk in on this person doing what they wanted to do, because they were calling for him on the set and they were asking him to go and look for Will. And those two happen to be engaged in this activity, and he walks in on it. And then Will Smith is going to come up to me later and say, look, I need you to sign this document. This is to protect your life. Some people might say, oh, yeah, well, he was being a friend to him because he's trying to keep him alive. But it's like, the fact that you think that it's my fault that I walked in on something, and some people might try to take my life because they think that I'm going to say something if I don't sign this document. But hey, here we are. He didn't sign the document, and now he's like, I don't have any NDAs. I can share what I experienced. But he talked about it in the interview where he said, there are a lot of people that are in their surroundings that know what is going on, but they have set people up. So if they were to come out and say anything, they already have stuff on them. He said they put them in rehabs, even if they don't have any drug or alcohol problems. And They have them on video, like they'll, say, hey, use my credit card, go buy yourself some stuff. They'll report the credit card as stolen, and then they'll tell the person, look, I'm not going to press charges, but they'll like rack up this proof, quote unquote, on them. So if they come out and share stuff, then it's like, well, we already got you. We put you in rehab. So they're going to say, yeah, this person was a drug addict. We had to put them in rehab. They, were stealing from us and things like that. And that is like so just sadistic. It's really insane to have the type of thoughts in mind to immediately set people up because you just want to live the type of life that is not normal on a lot of levels, where you already know that it's going to cause some people some mental trauma. They're going to want to tell other people, even if they're not selling their story or telling it to complete strangers in the public, they're going to tell somebody that they know, and they don't want it to get out. And he said they couldn't do that to me. They couldn't do that to me because I'd known Will for 30 something years. Listen, he just shared a lot, but when he confirmed a lot of the things that I thought about Dwayne Martin, and he talked about how he was an a-hole to his ex-wife, Tasha Campbell, and how he left her with nothing. We heard the stories, but Tasha Campbell, she didn't really go into a whole lot of details about things, but what man do you know that's just going to be that good of a friend where they're buying another man a Rolls Royce, where they are buying their property and allowing them to continue to live in it, hiding it behind a trust? They're going to leave his ex-wife penniless. And he, like, who is Dwayne Martin? You know what I mean? Like, he's been on a few shows here and there, but he's never been like this big Hollywood star. He's D-list at best. At best. Him being with Tasha Campbell actually was what even made him more recognizable and relevant. But he said a lot of the things and opportunities that he got, it was because Will Smith made the phone call. So to me, I believe that actually was the other person he was in a relationship with. I'm not saying that Will Smith is gay. I believe he was bi or is. And I believe that was someone that he was in a full-on relationship with. And I'm not believing that this man is out here just spewing lies. People can choose to believe what they want. I'm not here to convince anyone that he's speaking the truth. I'm just saying that I believe him. That's what I am saying. But he also confirmed some things and even went into more in-depth details. When I talked a while ago about Jada Pinkett and the show that she used to be on, which I actually really liked that show. It used to come on TNT called Hawthorne. I talked about that last year when the slap situation happened. And I discussed the fact that when Mark Anthony joined the show, I don't remember if it was season 2 or season 3. The show didn't last much longer after the season that he was on it because it was extremely, it was a lot. And you could feel through the TV screen that they actually had something going on. It wasn't just acting, because they were getting down. And this was on TNT. This wasn't HBO. This wasn't a movie. It was very graphic to be on a television show that came on like prime time. I think the show came on at like 8 o'clock during the weeknight, that it came on once a week. But anyway, we didn't have Instagram and stuff like that back in the day, but we did have the blogs. And I remember the story where they said Will Smith walked in on Jada. She was screwing Mark Anthony. And it really upset him. That was the story. That was the rumor that was out there years ago. And I believe that's what caused the show to get shut down, because the show actually was a good show. Hawthorne, it was about her. She played a nurse at a hospital in a, underserved community. It was a really good show. She was like the hospital administrator. She wasn't just a nurse. So it was a really, really good show. She was a widow because her husband had died and she had a teen daughter. It really was a good show. I felt like she did really good on it. I will give her props for that. But when he went into the Will Smith walking in on Jada thing, he said the thing about that situation was she and they definitely had their agreements and their arrangements. They were supposed to know about it, or they were like with each other while they were with other people. But for Will to walk in on her unannounced and not knowing that she was with him, it did something to him. And he said it didn't happen immediately, but he said he beat Jada's ass so bad where they had to set up like a makeshift hospital for her to get treated, and her face was so bruised up where she had to get a lot of surgery to get her face done. And that explains a lot about her face, because you hear a lot of people say, why did Jada do whatever she did to her face? All those cheek implants and this and that and the other. Listen, I believe him. And if you consider the fact that, some people may think of Will as a punk. He said Will's never been a punk. Will's never been a punk when it comes to, he might have did the poppy bubblegum type, rapping back in the day. He might not have been a gangster rapper like that, but Will, he definitely can throw blows. And if you consider a man beating up on a woman who's maybe all of 5 feet or 5'1", probably weighs, I don't know, between 115 and 125 pounds. And you got this big, tall man, also a man who we know has played the role of Muhammad Ali. I believe it. It all makes sense. And that, to me, is one of the main things that keeps him hanging on, because she knows his secret, not just about sexual things, but about him beating her ass. Because I think that would plummet him more than him coming out to say, you know what, guys, I'm bisexual or I'm pansexual, whatever these people say, these days, instead of just saying I'm gay, But because honestly, that is Hollywood. The higher ups, a lot of those people, that's the type of life and lifestyle that they are operating in. So why would it tank his career for him to come out and say, I'm gay, especially these days at this point in time, or I'm bisexual? But if he were to come out, or the news came out, not him coming out to say I beat my wife's ass, but if the news came out that he beat up Jada Pinkett Smith, I don't care how much people don't like her, no one could say that she deserved that. And there might be some people that would say, well, I can understand. But no, because when you open up your marriage to having sex with other people, those are the risks that you take. And I wholeheartedly believe when people choose to make those decisions to be married to someone, but sleep with other people, if they're going to do it with you and with your knowledge, they're going to do it without you and without your knowledge. What's stopping them? There's no respect there. There's no respectful cheating or no respectful, third party, fourth party, 25th party. That's, to me, you open the door to that. So when I say he's no victim, he's not, because you all chose to live this way. But it makes sense as to him being in this bad marriage for life, like the both of them said on the Red Table Talk. We ride together, we die together, bad marriage for life. Him beating her ass, she keeping that to herself and the few people who know about it. And also, his other activities with men and women and her as well, because we do believe that that's definitely the lifestyle that she was living, and all of the other things, it definitely makes sense. And then when he went into the thing about how they tried to, he had already separated himself for a while, and they tried to get him to come down to what they call the Celebrity Center. This is the Scientology place. And when he found out what it was, he was definitely not going there. But he was like, it's so much weird stuff going on. Man, when I tell you, guys, if you have not listened to this interview, please listen to it. It is very detailed. It's very in-depth. Bilal said he has receipts, and I believe him. I believe him. But I'm not gonna talk about this much more. It's a lot. But I was just sitting there like, wow. Revelations and confirmations for me. So people have the right to believe what they want to believe. People can choose not to believe it. Some people can choose not to listen to it. Just, whatever. Everyone has the right to choose. But I choose to believe him. I do not detect any lies. And even when Tasha K tried to ask questions or whatever, like when she asked about Tupac or what, he was like, look, I don't know Tupac. I never met him. I'm not going to speculate because I really don't know the answer to that. He didn't even try. He wouldn't even say, well, you know what my thought on that is. So this is one of the reasons why I believe the man is someone, even though some people may see him as slimy or whatever because he shared this information, I believe he does have integrity. That may sound crazy to some people, but I believe that he does. Because you just have to listen to it, and those who get it, get it. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.